So if you're looking to start a 3D printing business on Etsy, there's a lot of things that you're going to probably read or hear about on different people's videos and guides on just do this, just do that, follow these X steps and you're going to get success. And none of them are telling you the whole story. There's a lot more that goes into it than what you can just cover in any given video or just a small checklist. So I'm going to be real with you about what my first year has looked like, finding success, what I read about and learned about along the way. I can tell you the mistakes I've made, and hopefully you can use that to apply to your situation, because my answers aren't going to be your answers. Just like all the other videos that you've watched, they may tell you, hey, this always works. It doesn't. You've got to find what works for you, and I'm going to try to help you with that. So the first thing that a lot of other creators seem to want you to do is to do some research on things that you can 3D print and find commercially available prints, searching the different Thingiverse websites or Maker World, things like that, where you can find things that have commercial licensing already built into them that somebody else designed. You can do that, but so can everybody else. And with the amount of people getting into 3D printing now, thinking, oh man, this thing can just print money, they're all searching for these same things and wanting to do the same thing that you are. So what makes you any different? If you take a model that somebody else designed that's free reign for everybody, you're looking at a commodity, which basically means that what you're doing is no different than what somebody else could do. It's like selling an empty bottle of water or a blank bottle of water. What makes yours any different than anybody else's? If you're a new seller, you don't have anything else to go off of besides the products. And if you've got a product and somebody else has that exact same product, but they've been selling it for 2 years and you've been trying to sell it for 2 days, they're going to buy from somebody that's already been selling it. So if you're trying to find something to print on these sites, somebody else has already beaten you to it. And anybody saying, hey, this is the best way to find products to sell, that was maybe 6 months ago. You've already missed that stage. It's like all the meme coins. By the time you've heard about it, it's already gone up and it's gone down, and everybody has had the rug pull out from under them. So you need to find out what you want to make with your 3D printer and find a way to either design things yourself that are going to fall into that, or contract somebody to design it for you and only for you. It needs to be unique or gated in some way that you're not just trying to sell literally the same thing that other people are doing without a way for you to make it your own. So for me, I'm not creative. I'm not going to be able to make like sculptures and models of terrain, but I can make shapes work in a way that helps with wargaming measurements instead of people having to use a ruler or a measuring tape over and over again. I found, okay, I can design these things that gamers can use that will speed up their gameplay, and that became my niche. It wasn't anything that was really hard for me to design because I had that skill set, and there was already products out there like that, so I just made my version of it. I made something different. I leveraged the fact that my printer could print in 4 different colors. So I was targeting a niche that wasn't being filled enough on Etsy with those products, and that's how I got started. I will say I also licensed terrain from designers because I wanted to start offering terrain, and that has been great. And because I have to pay for that license every month, it's kind of walled off from just everybody being able to sell that legally, at least. But despite that, I still find that it feels like a race to the bottom, and I have people reach out to me and ask, hey, can you price match this other shop? They're selling this piece for $60 and yours is $120. And this actually came up about a month ago with a repeat customer of mine, and I looked at the models and the effort and time and materials it would take. There's no there's no world where they're printing it and being able to sell it that inexpensively. They're either cutting way too many corners, or they're printing the model hollow and in one piece instead of making it sturdy and as it was originally designed, or something's different. But there's no way to know that if you both are selling literally the same, Castle Argent, that was designed by Dark Realms. Yours is very different. Maybe you print, like for me, I print mine with a lot better layer resolution. I am very strategic with where I put supports to minimize scarring and to avoid bad looking overhangs. Like, I put a lot of effort into maintaining the constant 5-star ratings that my terrain gets. But even with that, it's hard to differentiate yourself at the end of the day, because they still think, well, I'm still getting the same house. What's the difference? So find a way to make what you've got different than what other people are offering. That's thing number one. Thing number two, I've seen so much about advertising that it feels like everybody wants you to think that there's a right or wrong answer, and you either should be doing ads, of course you should be doing ads, or why would you bother doing ads? You should never be doing ads. And the answer is in the middle. There is no right answer. The ads on Etsy, for me, have been very successful. I think I've averaged over the life of my shop about a 3-to-1 return on ad spend. But there's an effect that advertising has that is not reflected in the ad numbers. Etsy reports to you how many sales came directly from somebody clicking on an ad, but what they don't have the ability to really show you is what's called the halo effect, where if you've got, I'm going to use my Briarwood Terrain collection as an example. There's like 20 different buildings in this Briarwood Terrain collection, and if I'm advertising 6 of them and somebody searches Briarwood, they might see 6 of my listings, but then click on one of the other 14 that are not listed, and that's the one that they buy. And the advertisement showed my shop multiple times before they clicked on that other thing. So there was this halo effect of those ads showing my store and putting that brand into their head before they actually click to buy. So the halo effect is an unseen bonus of advertising, where you're getting your stuff in front of people more often, even if they didn't click on the ad. That resonance of it repeatedly showing to you, or showing to them what you've got, benefited your shop. So instead of looking at the return on ad spend on Etsy, where they just say, hey, these people clicked on these ads and these were their orders, I look at how did my revenue go when I was running these ads as a whole, whether they clicked on an ad or not, because that's really the biggest, the most important thing at the end of the day is how much money is coming in, how many orders are coming in, and whether or not they clicked on the ad, or they came organically, or they saw your ad but never clicked on it but they still bought. It's all still a sale at the end of the day. So look at how much you're spending in advertising and how much your shop is making, and make decisions based on that. The other thing about marketing, and this is the part that you don't hear much from the other, in my opinion, the other creators that I've watched videos on, is that you don't really get to know how important it is to be able to look at what is driving people to those ads when you're running them. If you don't use Etsy ads, your information on what is driving people to your products is limited. By running ads on a product, Etsy is going to, over time, give you a list of the exact searches that people are using that led them to that click. They're also going to show how many times that was viewed before it was clicked. And again, they will show you, the purchases that came out of that ad, and what clicks, keywords, like what keywords clicked for them to make them buy. So, as an example, my Warhammer 40K deployment zone sticks, I can see 650 different ways that people have searched for something, and that ad popped up during that search. Some of them might be completely irrelevant, and you can turn those off in the ad. You can say, hey, if somebody searches, if they came upon deployment zones and maybe their search was no parking zone or whatever, and it showed them that ad because it had the word zone in it, you can turn that off to where you basically tell Etsy's ad server, hey, this keyword is not relevant to this product. Don't use that when you're targeting. And you can really fine tune exactly where those ads are targeting. If I know that deployment zones are only really selling when people are looking for Warhammer accessories and not when they're looking for Dungeons and Dragons accessories, I can turn off keywords for Dungeons and Dragons accessories and make sure that my wargaming accessories are only ad targeting people that are searching for them. On the other hand, you can also use that knowledge to broaden your catalog if you see that people are searching for a certain product a lot that is not the product that you're selling right now. My big example of this was I make objective mats. When you're playing Warhammer, you've got points on the mat on the battlefield that are objectives, and there's a radius around these objectives where people need to put their models to control that objective or to take it over. And rather than measuring that repeatedly, you can just put a little mat on the table that's already the right size, and then you don't have to measure anymore. If they're standing on the mat, they're close enough. There are tons and tons of people that were searching for 40K Warhammer objective mats, and I didn't sell them. So I figured out how to 3D print those, and it's not a traditionally 3D printed thing, but because I was running ads, I saw that there were thousands of Warhammer people searching for objective mats and markers. So I made some and started selling them, and they quickly became my next best-selling product. And I would not have even thought about how important that was to get those out there until I looked at the keywords that were leading people to my shop. Another example of that is the bases, the circular bases. That became another one of the best sellers in my shop. It goes on and off of being the best seller in its category, which is phenomenal. And it's not an expensive product, and it didn't take all that long to design, but I wouldn't have even taken that time if I didn't look at the ads and the information that I can get from those ads. By looking and seeing what people are searching for, you can use that to determine what you need to focus on, because you can clearly see this is what people want to buy. Do you have it? No? Can you get it? Yes. Do it. People are searching for this. That means they want to buy it. They're not usually searching for something that they have no interest in. So Etsy Ads gives you a lot of information that is not otherwise available through their normal analytics and reporting. So I would say any amount of ad spend is going to get you this information. The more you spend, the more information you're going to get, and the quicker you're going to get it. But even if you spend $1 a day, you're going to see, that one product that you're advertising for $1 a day. You can look every day and see, okay, this ad was shown 184 times, and 4 people clicked on the link before it blew my dollar ad budget for the day. But you can see the keywords that those 4 people were typing when they hit your link, and that's valuable information. And then the next day you're going to get 4 more, and you can turn off those if they're not the right keywords. If they are the right keywords and you don't have them in your tags for your product, then you've got another way to optimize right there. Okay, these people are all searching this exact phrase before they click. I need to make sure that's in my tag. So using that information by spending any amount of money on ads just to open up that section of Etsy is insanely valuable, in my opinion, and it's an intangible effect that you have to take control of. It's not going to happen for you, but if you use the data and you make data-driven decisions, it can really shape the direction you take your product line based on literally the consumer telling you what they want and Etsy passing that information along to you. The last thing that I really feel like is a lot of misinformation that you hear from other creators telling you how to make a lot of money is that there's some sort of overnight success that can happen, or if you just do these things, people will buy, and all of a sudden you'll just they've got those thumbnails where they've got a finger pointing here and it's a 0, and then another finger pointing here and it's a 28,452, and then they've got the little Amazon smiley arrow to make you think, oh wow, all I have to do is these 3 tricks and I can make my Etsy shop do that. No, you can't. You're not going to get rich overnight doing Etsy. You're not going to get rich even in the short term of like a month or two, barring those crazy exceptions to the rule. You're going to have to work for it, and there's a lot of people on Etsy that are working hard for it. So you're going to need to put in more work than them if you want to be more successful than them. That's something that I didn't think about when I started doing this. And for me, it started as a side hobby, and I just listed stuff that other people in my wargaming community had asked me for, because they were things that I made for me. And they liked them so much that they wanted some, and I didn't have a way to sell it to them. So whatever that is for you, if you're 3D printing, what are you making for yourself with that? Do other people think it's cool? Make it for them. Grow your following on Etsy by having people buy it from you on there, and then let it slowly build over time. You're not going to get to 6 figures a year in revenue just by waving a magic wand and making a bunch of quick snap decisions on what models to make, and then people just flock to it, and you're just printing boxes of stuff that you can just mail out, and it's just all this free money. No, you've got to work on it, and it's going to build over time. You need to sell things to get reviews, to sell more things that get more reviews, and it's a process of building momentum that you can't encapsulate in a single strategy that's going to just be like, wow, this works every time. If it does, I haven't seen it, and I don't see how it could after going through this for a little over a year now. I was very methodical in my approach on, okay, we hit these thresholds. I know how much it's taking in printing time for me to keep up with this amount of orders, so I need another printer. And I did the math. April of last year, so about 9 months ago, when I was talking to my wife about what are we going to do with this business? Are we going to keep growing this? Is this just going to stay where it's at, and we just push out our shipping time because we kept having a supply issue where we couldn't keep up with the orders coming in? And I mapped out what it would look like to get to a point where I could replace my day job income, and that amount was, I had a dollar amount per day of Etsy sales that would need to be happening, and then I broke that out to how many hours of printing do I think that would take to get that amount of sales. If assuming that everything stayed the same every day, do I need 500 print hours to generate the amount of money? Do I need 100 print hours? What is my estimate? And for me, it basically boiled down to, if I can get 18 printers printing at 75% efficiency, and making $1.50, $2 an hour per printer, then that should be enough. That may not be something that you can just do. You can't run your printers at 100% efficiency unless you're babysitting them 24/7. And if you can do that, more power to you. But all I can do is just try to time the start and end times of prints to where I can minimize the downtime between them. but there's also maintenance that's going to stop that. So the math is never going to be perfect, and you're never going to have the steady exact quantity of stuff coming in. One day there might be a certain product that pops off and you sell 12 of it, and all of a sudden you don't have enough, bright purple to go through all those sales. So you need to order some, or go pick it up from Micro Center if you're fortunate enough to have one in the area, or order it overnight from Amazon to fulfill it. The next day it might be a big terrain order. The next day after that it might be nothing. But if you manage what you need over time instead of managing in the short term, you can plan out what your path to victory looks like. If you need to make $50,000 a year take-home pay, how many printers do you need, and how long do they have to be running, and what do your products need to be priced at to get to that? Break that math down and figure out, how many orders do I need? Do I have enough products to generate those orders? For me, my target, and I told my wife this again, like I said, in April last year, I need 15 orders per day that average X amount, and we will be able to hit this target. And we're very close to it. And I have, because I'm a data analyst nerd, I have Power BI dashboards set up that I can take the data that Etsy lets you download in the settings, and I put it into this dashboard, and I can see over time, okay, here's my average revenue, here's my top selling products, here's how many repeat customers I have, so here's the average value of a customer, here's how much I'm spending on marketing, so this is how much it's costing me per customer to find new people to buy my stuff. And all of those numbers aligned almost perfectly with my guess last year of 15 orders per day is the target that I need to shoot for. So that felt pretty cool, that my napkin math was backed by hard math after I had a lot of data. So anyways, I hope this helps. Starting a 3D printing business and succeeding with it are two very different things. I love 3D printing, but it is a job. It is a full-time job. I gave up everything in my life to follow this. If you ask my friends and family, they'll tell you I've basically disappeared from everything else because of how much effort this takes to really do it right. You can't just do what somebody says on a YouTube video and all of a sudden it's just gonna magically work. It does not work that way. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it and then nobody would be succeeding. So find out what works for you. Find out what you're good at. Find out what your people that you know would be interested in. Find out what you would be interested in that you're not doing yet, and follow that. You are the best determining factor of what's valuable to you. Are you your ideal customer? Because if you are, then think of things that you want and work on that. And then chances are you're not the only person in the world that wants that. That's just reality. We're a lot more alike with other people than we think we are sometimes. And that's what happened for me. I made things for myself, and people asked me if they could have some also. And now I'm traveling across the country to go sell more of these things that I made for myself just over a year ago, to sell them in person to people. I hope this was helpful. If you want to like, sure. If you want to subscribe, awesome. I'm really just doing this because it is a good way to kill time on these road trips, and I have received a lot of great advice along the way, and I've also seen a lot of not great advice, and I wanted to kind of share my distilled version of that for you. Take what you will of it. It may not apply to you at all. Maybe you can make those get-rich-quick schemes work, and if you do, please let me know too, because I'd like to make more. But anyways, hope you have a good rest of your day.